Okay, in this video we're going to be talking about sampling designs and methods. So let's go and get started. You want to conduct a survey of the Archers or of the students at Archer High. There are roughly 2,500 students in the school, and surveying them all would just take too much time. You decide to only survey 500 students. How do you choose the students for the survey? All right, so let me just kind of visualize this problem for you. This circle here represents all the students at Archer High School. Okay, now any survey that you see that is on the internet or on TV or what have you, they'll always say like 50% of the population say yes or 40% say no or what have you. They don't ask everybody, okay? They usually take a small sample of the population and they just say whatever those that small sample says we're going to apply to everybody. So this circle here represents 2,500 students. Okay, so that's just too many people. You don't have enough time to survey everybody. So what you're going to do is you're going to get a small sample. You're just going to get like a small sample of, let's just say this circle here represents 500 students. And whatever these 500 students say, we will relate their answers to everybody else. Okay, so like for example, if 50% of the people say yes, 40% say no, and then let's just say 10% say maybe. Even though we only surveyed 500 people, we can still take the results and compare it to the 2,500. Okay? Now, what we're going to focus on today is this. How do you choose the students for the survey? Okay? And that's where we're going to definitions here. Okay, so let me zoom in and let's just start going over some of this. All right? Okay, for the next 2 or 3 minutes, it's going to be very definition heavy, so I apologize for that, but we got to get through this. All right, a survey is a study about characteristics of a population. So a survey could be anything, a flyer, a questionnaire, anything where you want to know information about a population. Now, the population is the people that you want information about. Okay, now the population in the students or in this question that we started off with, the population was the 2,500 students. Okay, because that's the information we want to know, or those are the people that we want to know information about. And I'm still zoomed in, so sorry about that. So let's keep going. Now, how do you choose the 500 people? Going back to that last question. Well, if you want to do a random sample, very simply, you put all the names in a hat and draw from it. Or in other words, everybody has an equal um, so in other words, everybody has an equal chance of being selected. That's what a random sample is. So you put all 2,500 names in a hat, you pull them, and at random, there you go. That's how you find your random sample. Now, it doesn't have to be names in a hat. It's just something where, like a lottery, something where you get a an equal chance for everybody being selected. All right, as we keep going, more definition. A stratified random sample is divide the population into distinct groups and then choose randomly. Now, the key word here is distinct. Now, what distinct means is like you are dividing up the group, as in it can be male to female divided up, or it could be age. So you are dividing them up in distinct groups. Okay. A systematic sample is a rule could be used to select members of the population. So, like, let's say, for example, you're standing in the mall and you happen to watch people come in the front door. Well, if you say, "Hey, I want every seventh person to be surveyed," well, by you saying you want the seventh person to be surveyed, then that is a rule that you are using to select people. Okay. All right, let's keep going and finish out the definition. A convenience sample, very simple with a convenience sample. It's that only members who are easily accessible are selected. So, like, for example, if you were to stand, let's say if we go back to that Archer High School problem and you're like, I'm just going to stand in a particular hallway, and whoever passes me will be surveyed. Not because there's any special logic to that, except they just happen to walk by me, and I'm going to hand them the flyer. Self-selected samples, people volunteer. That's pretty simple. Whoever wants to volunteer, they get it. And the cluster sampling, this is where we go into how this can be very similar to stratified random, is that divide the population into natural groups. So we have natural as opposed to distinct. The difference between natural is when the division naturally happens. And so usually what the book uses to describe this is where, like, maybe your location, like where you live. Like everybody on the north side of town will be surveyed. And you're not dividing anybody up. You're just saying, well, they're all kind of living in the north side of town, so we're just going to use that. Okay, so that's the difference between distinct to natural. Natural is when you just have natural division, and distinct is where you actually go in and divide them up. Um, just kind of break them up. So let's keep going. A couple of examples. Let me zoom back out here. All right. This piece of paper here has some information that we're not necessarily going to go over, like biased and all that. We're not going to talk about that. All right. So let's just go ahead and do the one at the very top. A high school is conducting a survey determining the average number of hours that their students spend doing homework each week at the school. Only the members of the sophomore class are chosen. Okay, so complete the survey, identify the population. Okay, so the population is the students, because you want to know information about the students. Now, a lot of students are going to say, "Oh, no, the population is the sophomore class." No, the sophomore class is the only one that's doing the actual survey, or those are the only ones that are actually answering the survey. But you want to know um, how many. You want to know information about their students. Okay. Now it says because a rule, which is the sophomore class. Remember, a rule is that kind of the I'm trying not to use rule, and is kind of like the method in which you're getting your survey. It's going to be stratified. Oh, I'm sorry, I said the wrong one. It's going to be a systematic sample, because you are applying a rule in which you want only the sophomore class to take advantage of that survey. Okay. All right, let's skip that. Let's just go into some more examples here. All right, here we go. The manager of a music store wants to evaluate how customers rate the selection of their music in stock. Customers are given a comment card with their receipts. Okay. We're going to skip that just for a moment because there's something I want to bring to your attention, but I don't know if I have enough time. So we'll go into question number 2. Your school's administrators want to know if students are satisfied with choices of activities for activity period in each grade. Every seventh student in alphabetical order is surveyed. So well, first off, what is the population that we're trying to identify? And that would be, once again, the students. Apparently, the authors of this book like to use students as their example here. Now, it says every seventh person. Okay, so once again, you're applying a rule, which if you're applying a rule, it's going to be systematic. And like I said, writing with my mouse sometimes makes it difficult. All right, so let's go back to question number 1 because I just looked at the clock and I do have time. The manager of student school wants to, or music store. Okay, this is the key word here, is where the receipts. You only get a receipt when you buy something. Okay, and under the rules of this book that we're pulling questions from, you get to choose whether or not you buy something. Okay, so since you get to choose the type of, well, first off, the population is the music store customers or the music store patrons. Okay, but what I really wanted to talk about is how did you find the sampling method, and that was this. It is a self-selected. And the reason it's self-selected is because, and I misspelled selected, as he always, there, is because you get to choose whether or not you want to buy this item or buy something at the music store. All right, and for the final few seconds, go ahead and pause the video and look at this, and I'll go ahead and give you the answers. All right, for the final one, question number 1, question number 2, there's your answers. If you have any questions, let me know next time you see me. Thanks for watching.